Hello and welcome to this week's coffee vlog. It's now Friday the looks. Come on. Friday the 9th of August. It's coming on 7 o'clock. I've just been dropping some samples off in Halifax, which is why I'm here. And now we're going to get moving and head off home. So this week it's been well, ridiculously busy, to be honest. I know last week was a bit of a steady week-ish, aside from the don't mind me aside from the issues I had to deal with. So needless to say, Monday morning I did get into work early, sort out all the stuff from the weekend, drive down Selby Bridge, do all the paperwork to get a Luton van, rigid van with tail lift, and then headed back to work and put the pallet I had for the roaster I had to recover from Newcastle on the van with our pallet truck and various bits and pieces I thought I might need for the recovery job. And then headed off to Newcastle. Had to put some fuel in. As normal rental places, it's a case of taking it back with the same fuel you got with it, and it had 55 miles worth of fuel in, which wasn't going to get me to Newcastle. I put 50 quid's worth of fuel in. I didn't really know how much I was going to need. I mean, in this, £50 would get me to London and back, and a week's worth of driving after that. But of course, a great big old van thing isn't going to be that efficient, especially when it's got like a big brick on wheels, isn't it? So it's not going to be aerodynamic or anything, and it's carrying a lot of weight, and it'd be carrying even more on the way back. So I thought I was going to get away with that 50 quid, and when I set off, it kind of balanced itself out, because it had this like range meter thing. It wasn't a very good range meter, and it started out, it said I had 380 miles when I was only doing 120 there, 120 back. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna have way too much fuel, way too much. Oh, I've just gone overboard. I really didn't want to fill up again, so I had sort of gone a little bit over on the fuel. So thought that would do it. I actually got to Stump Cross Monday night, and the amber light was on, and it said I had 33 miles left range, and I got to get to work, empty everything else out, and then get down Selby Bridge, and I was supposed to take it back with at least 55 miles in. So I did have to go back to the petrol station on the way in with the roaster in the back. It was the last thing I wanted to do, to be honest. To fill up £8 worth more just to get me back to Selby Bridge, and so it actually had a decent amount of fuel in. I was a little bit over with that, but I was being cautious. I didn't want a great big wagon thing to run out of fuel on me. That would have been a bit of an issue. But yes, otherwise I came up with a suitable plan for getting roaster that had been taken off its own pallet and that actual pallet being destroyed completely to get it off. Brilliant idea. I came up with a plan, because originally I was going to go to suppliers who had a forklift and get them to forklift the roaster onto it. So I mean, it's 500 kilo bit of kit, you can't just like easily lift it onto a wooden pallet. So that was my original plan, but I'd already worked out it took me 3 hours to get to Newcastle, because I couldn't go that quick in the van. The van would actually go pretty quick on the motorway. The problem was the fuel gauge went down at an even more alarming rate as soon as I went fairly quickly. So I kind of ended up slipstreaming various lorries on the motorway at about 60, and about 60 it was decent fuel economy. but of course you're not going so quick. So that was pretty much, I had to be back for 4 if I was going to make the supplier, and there was no way I was going to do that, so I had to come up with some new plan to get the roaster on the pallet. I worked out, fortunately, prior to that I could get them to put the roaster on the van with their pallet truck, use my pallet truck to pull the roaster onto the van, then we'd put the pallet I brought with me to put it on the tail lift of the truck and drop the tail lift so that that pallet would then match the exact height of the van back, therefore allowing me to wheel back onto the pallet the roaster. And then we could lift the tail lift and pull the whole roaster and pallet malarkey into the van and job done. As we did, and it worked great. The only problem was I had to pull the roaster then to the back of the van, or the front as it were, with the pallet truck, but I couldn't turn it because the pallet was too wide, so I couldn't remove the pallet truck either, which I didn't need to because it was mine, so that was okay. But it did mean that I'd got the roaster at sort of the front end of the van, but with a pallet truck in front of it, and it's kind of a bit top heavy, so it was sideways on, which would mean that it would want to wobble back and forth whenever I accelerated or braked in the van. It's not ideal. So I had to rope the thing to death to try and keep it in place, and then also drive like a ridiculous granddad in the van. And the main thing was, it was the deceleration and acceleration, because that was when it was going to wobble the most, and when I was worrying about, because if the thing fell over, it would just destroy it, and then that would be a complete disaster for me. So I didn't want it to rock over, but my only choice, because I still had to drive, you know, I can't just not drive, so my only choice was to set off as steadily as I could, and then if I had to brake as gently as I could to rest, which is fine, except when you're driving through, I mean, I had to go through the Tyne Tunnel, and I had to go around so many roundabouts, and I had to go so slowly towards them, and then pull away so slowly and go round the bend so gently. I had a massive queue of cars behind me leaving, and I must have annoyed many people in Newcastle for blocking the roads up with my stupid slow driving just to, oh, bread. They are. Good job they did that just now as I got to here. So yes, I managed it. It was very stressful worrying about tipping it over, but I got back and it was still upright, and we got it out of the van about 6:30 on Monday in the end. And then I drove down to Selby Bridge with the van and left it there and got my car, went home and went, yay. But that's not the end of the story. We'll continue this story after I've dropped my parcels off. Great, that's it. Parcels dropped off. Let's do Mr. Nice's words of wisdom, and then we can chat on the way home. So Mr. Nellis says, oh, I can straighten myself up a bit, I look a bit wonky. Mr. Nellis says, things to talk about on your vlog: the Walkley's Clog mill fire. So it's an old mill down towards Myvenroyd, so it's about 5 or 6 miles from where I work. And yes, it used to be a clog mill. It's a great big old building, big old mill, but yeah, it's burnt down. But I mean, from its heyday, recent years, it's got really run down and just broken down, and it looked like it would cost a fortune just for the maintenance of upkeeping it and everything. So it's one of those that you wouldn't be surprised if that fire wasn't a bit deliberate. Yes, okay. Me, as I have been to Saltaire Mill to watch the history of Saltaire there on Monday, and Thwaite Watermill in Leeds as a Pennine Magpie trip, as the watermill reminds me of the one on Thomas the Tank Engine on Tuesday afternoon and morning. Yes, there was a watermill in Thomas the Tank Engine, you're right. Me, as I sang Don't Stop Believing by Journey at the Feathers Pub on Tuesday evening, good song. My mum and dad, as they are in Christchurch on their motorhome since Saturday nearly last week. They're probably a bit wet, I imagine, Richard. And they will be back tomorrow, which my dad has mostly been fishing, he seriously caught a big fish. And where do you go fishing? I don't know, we only went to a local lake, to be honest, which I forget the name of, but it's just opposite Tesco's on Halifax Road, to be honest. Nowhere special. Imagine we could try a few different areas, but the magnet fishing is the main thing when it's dry. Are you really missing Bob's vlogs as I am? Yes, I'm missing Bob's vlogs. Do you get very bored listening to the radio? I don't listen to the radio. This is what we were saying last week, Richard. I do not listen to the radio. Well, actually, I tell a lie, because on Monday I listened to the radio because I was in the stupid van thing. And I couldn't be bothered trying to connect my phone's Bluetooth to it to use my phone for music, so I did listen to Radio 1. But normally I don't. I just use my phone and whatever music's on my phone, or I have a USB plugged in the car, because for some reason this car has the worse radio than my old car. How that works, I don't know. You know, progress will go backwards. So my old car, it used to remember that it was connected to my phone by Bluetooth, and it would always start the phone at the song, playlist, whatever else it was that my phone was on the next time I got in. So every time I got in the car, start the car, the radio would automatically connect to my phone by Bluetooth and play the song it was last playing when I turned off the car. That was brilliant. That was worked, and that was a car that was made in 2013. So this 2017 car, what does it do? When I get in the car, it automatically defaults to anything other than my phone. Even if I was using my phone last time, it does not care. It will do radio, or it will do a USB plugged into it that has songs on. Won't do my phone. When I manually go through the stupid touchscreen thing to find my phone to connect to, various settings we go through, get to that, and then it starts playing a playlist that seems to exist only in my phone knowledge. I've never made it, and it always starts with the 18 by I forget who it's by now, but it always starts with this same song, and it's just completely, I don't get it. I can't understand, and I've kept thinking, well, maybe iPhone updates, but I'm on the second iPhone that I've had with this car, and that hasn't helped. It hates me. So, yeah, that's really frustrating, but I don't listen to the radio anyway. So, returning to the saga of Newcastle, so having got the roaster back on a pallet finally, and all the bits of the crate, and all the bits that go with the roaster, the chaff collector thing that stands alongside it, and lots of other bits and pieces, I'm going to put all that into the crate on Tuesday and then build up the crate sides. So I got all the bits carefully wrapped up the roaster, as much padding as protection to make sure it didn't get rubbed or scratched or anything in its travels. And then started putting the sides on and found a new problem. The sides, both the front and the left side, were 5 centimeters longer, that's the side panels, than the pallet I'd got. So basically the pallet that the roaster was originally on was bigger than the one I had, but I only had that pallet, so I didn't have a lot of choice. So that was an entirely new issue. So I had to put 2 sides on that fitted at least to the pallet and screwed in place, And then I had to fit the other two on using the pallet truck to prop one side up, screw them all together, and then cut up various bits of wood to make some battens and some holding blocks, so that basically I could chock out from the pallet to where the actual sides were hanging, almost freeze hanging like, and just support them. And in the end, I started out with some thin battens which are screwed in that sort of stuck out and held the sides up, but I wasn't convinced they were going to be strong enough, and then I found some real chunky woodwork battens which I chopped up, and I could screw one on to the pallet, and then the second one I could screw to the first one I'd screwed to the pallet, and that got it far enough out that it would hold up the actual sides of the pallet. So basically it looked like the shonkiest put together thing you'd ever seen, but it was all together, and the shipping company could finish the job that they'd started but made a complete pig's ear of. So yeah, finally got it all ready, and it did get picked up Tuesday, and I believe it got delivered Wednesday. I've not heard anything so far, and I wasn't rocking the boat, to be perfectly honest. So hopefully that's all dealt with. But yeah, what a malarkey, really. So last weekend, it wasn't that great weather really wise. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't fantastic either. Didn't do a lot Saturday. Sunday mostly just chilled out, and in the afternoon we went to the boys. So my boy and his two friends and his friend's dad as well, and we went for a walk up to some woods near us and found an abandoned, broken down house as well. So that was quite interesting. We just had a walk around the woods and everything. So that was Sunday. Like I say, Monday I had all this malarkey to deal with, but then it's just been busy generally with loads of orders. I had a bit of an issue with the aero presses. Put an order in pretty much when I'd run out, which I don't normally do, but I was trying to get the order in for the new month. So that was last Thursday, put the order in, expected them to come Friday. Friday afternoon, Aerobi emailed to say, oh, we've had a computer issue and we couldn't send them out today, can we send them Monday? Like, oh, well, I'll send them Monday. They'd already got backed up orders by then for them. Like, well, Monday will have to do if that's all you can do. So, of course, I was away all day Monday, just expected them to arrive. Tuesday, get to work, they hadn't turned up. So, no aeropresses, where are they? Spoke to Aerobi, they forgot that they were sending them out. Marvellous. So they had to send them out for Wednesdays. By the time Wednesday came, I had like 20 odd orders for aeropresses alone backed up. So on Wednesday we had one lot of Hermes parcels dropped off in the morning with some local deliveries, which is about 17 odd, and then on Wednesday evening I dropped off another 18 parcels at the petrol station, like the busiest Hermes parcel day ever. But it was all because we just had such a backup for these Aerobi aeropress orders. But they always deliver next day, no problem. If I email them, even at 3 or 4 o'clock, it turns up the next day. And this one time when I desperately needed them, it takes like 4 days. What's that? Look at that, eh? So we had that, and then I was doing a load of roasting yesterday. Just finished, and I got an email from the customer that had 100 kilos of Brazilian peaberry roasted off me, to say they've got a new order for 150 kilos of Brazilian peaberry that I would need to roast, and could they have it as soon as possible, please? So, so consequently today I have been roasting very many Brazilian peaberries. 85 kilos to be precise I've managed to get done today. Plus 5 kilos of Thailand Doi Chang coffee, because I needed some of that for an order. So I've roasted 90 kilos of coffee today, which is pretty much the roaster running all day. And then I've got to get the rest of this 150 done. I mean, hopefully I might get it all done Monday, or I might have to do a bit Tuesday, I don't know yet. It'll be a case of seeing how I get on. So yeah, basically it's been busy, and it's been a real hard, long, arduous, tough week, to be honest. And I'm not getting any younger, so it's not getting any easier either. Right, so that's it for the coffee vlog today. Have a good weekend and week next week, and I'm gonna get wet just going in the house by the looks of it. British summertime. It's 20 past 7 at night. It's nearly pitch black and pouring with rain, and the middle of summer. Yay! Yay for England. See ya.